Hey, it's Alia. First and foremost, this video is going to be a little different. It's actually from my journal. I was just journaling and I decided, you know what, let me take what I wrote and turn it into something that can help other people, not just me. So this is going to be more personal, more raw. It's for anyone who's building something of their very own and realizing that sometimes growth doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes it looks like grieving, shedding, transitioning, and letting go. This is what it's been like running a creative business in my 20s. The real, gritty, behind-the-scenes stuff. No filter, no edits. The kind of stuff we don't always post about. I think one of the hardest parts of doing this work isn't just the design process, of course, or the deadlines. It's the emotional toll of being your own everything. The strategist, social media manager, the creative, the leader, the therapist, the brand, the voice of the brand, the operations manager. There's so much that goes into running your own business, especially when you're doing it on your own. And along the way, I've had to let go of so many expectations of how I thought a client would respond, of how I thought a conversation would unfold, of how I thought a friendship would grow, of how I thought I should show up. And letting go of expectations feels like a quiet grief sometimes, like something that you have to do alone. It stings, it lingers, but ultimately, it frees you. It frees you from the version of yourself you used to be. And this past week, I had a situation with a potential client that really tested me. I was accommodating, I was clear, I showed up, but I could feel energetically that it just was not right. It reminded me that I'm not just charging for a service, I'm charging for the energy, the experience, and the intention that I bring to every project that I sign to. In the moment, I let go of the need to convince people or to overextend myself. That's when I made space for better. That's when actual people who saw me showed up in my life. I also had a situation with another creative who I thought might become not just a friend, but a potential partner down the line. But when I expressed several boundaries around time, communication, and what works with me energetically, it just seemed to drop off. And it hurt. Because I want to feel seen, I want to be validated, I want to connect, and I want to do the same with others. But I'm learning, again, that not everyone is meant to go with you. We're not all aligned to each other. Sometimes we're able to align with each other's paths, and sometimes we drop off, especially when you're evolving. An astrologer told me once, back in the day when I was filming my first YouTube video, that I was technically in a stage called the ego death. It's a season of endings. It tends to be known as a 2-year cycle of endings, of being stripped down energetically so that you can rebuild. And that has been so true for me and what I have experienced over the past 1.5 years. The clients that I thought I needed, relationships I once clung to but let go of, versions of myself that I just no longer recognize as me, but rather as masks, shells, exteriors. This has been a year of gutting and grounding, of actual rage, anger, frustration, and finally just release. Soft release and acceptance. And now I'm finding that the more I let go, the more space I have for what I actually want. Aligned clients, easeful friendships, and a business that reflects my values, that's sustainable, that doesn't reflect my fears, people pleasing, or any other things that used to be part of who I was. If you're in a season of letting go too, just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. Boundaries, they're not walls. They're actually invitations to go deeper, and your no is sacred. Your intuition is wise. And grief? Grief just means you cared. You don't have to hold on to prove your worth. You are allowed to walk away, even without closure, a thing that so many of us go through. And I've had to walk away from situations without closure so many times in my life. And you are allowed to build a life, a business, a process, a path that honors you, who you are, and what you deserve. This is what running a creative business in your 20s actually looks like nowadays. From pouring the foundation, it's gritty, it's gorgeous, it's a spiritual practice in disguise. Like my friend says, it literally is world building. It's a combination of architecture and design, of a science and of an art. And to be honest, I am so grateful for it all. The beautiful and the messy parts. And of course, letting go. Pieces and things that were part of my old version of self, they would fall out of my life. They would fall away so that I can step into something or some things that the past versions of me could not even imagine happening. It has been so painful grieving all of this that has happened, whether it be the loss of my apartment, my job, or even before that, being denied promotions twice, being let on, and then after that losing my job, to even being homeless this past summer and trying to figure out, what am I going to do? It has been so difficult and painful, but it has been so powerful to experience. Because every time I choose to not cling to something that isn't right, I have created space for something way better. So this week, I was reminded, not every opportunity is meant to be pursued. Boundaries are not walls. They're doorways to alignment. You're allowed to grow, even when it means growing apart. And the people who get me, they get me. They don't question who I am. The clients I'm meant to work with, they're already here. And if they're not here, they're on their way. And they'll see my value without me needing to ever explain it to them. And I also want to take a moment to remind you, once again, it is okay to take space. It is okay to rest. It is okay to protect your energy. And you do not have to explain your boundaries. Of course, it does help to do so, to communicate. But you do have permission to honor them, to honor your boundaries. And if this spoke to you, feel free to share your story in the comments or DM me. Just know I see you, I get it, you're not alone. And if you'd like a video just like this, but maybe a bit longer, I made a video around these topics back in February where I sit down, chat, and decide to paint some of my paintings that I have in my office. I talk about my journey over the fall and winter seasons of 2024, and I talk about where I was back then. And if you'd like to see a bit more about like who I am and why I do what I do, check out my last video where I talk about branding that is not just an experience, but branding that helps you build systems to live the life that you always wanted to live. Because really, you didn't just start a business just to help people. You started a business to live the life that you want to live, to do whatever you want to do, whether it's giving back to communities, your family, or even yourself. That's why you started a business. Thank you so much for your time.